The BC Lions are mourning the loss of the team's longtime equipment manager. Scott Rintoul from Sportsnet 650 explains the man known as Kato touched a lot of people.
Hey, it's Scott Rintoul from Sportsnet 650, and as many of you know, we talk about sports every day. My co-host and I, Andrew Walker, on Sportsnet 650, and a lot of it's because we love sports. Part of the reason we love sports is because of the people we get to meet, and one of the best people you could have hoped to meet today is a guy, unfortunately, the BC Lions and the football community in this province lost. His name was Ken Kasuya, though you probably knew him better or heard him referenced as Kato. He was the longtime equipment manager for the BC Lions. He came to the organization when he was a teenager in the 80s. He used to ride his bike to practice, and he hung around and became part of the fabric of the community here. He is a favorite of players, coaches, every staff member that's ever walked through those doors in BC. But he was even more than that. He was the guy that broadcasters would go to, cameramen would go to. Everybody loved Kato because he was so welcoming, so friendly. I know Greg and Riaz did a piece with him. He loved to have a good time. He had a great sense of humor, and unfortunately he's been lost far too soon. There were so many things about Kato that not everybody got to see. Everybody associates him with the BC Lions, but I can remember as a young football player in the 90s, we knew of Kato when I was a university football player. In high school, players knew of him too. He was so generous. If he found out that there was a player who couldn't afford gloves or cleats, or he couldn't find the size at the store because some people were just too big for high school or university equipment, Kato would find a way of getting that equipment to those players, and there was never any cost. He just did it out of the goodness of his heart. He was a fixture in the stands out at UBC, SFU, high school football games as well, and as mentioned, he was just such a fabric of this community. He'll be lost. I think the one other thing that I have to get across is how humble Kato Katsuya was. He was not one of those guys who looked for accolades when the team won, though he did as much or more work than anybody. You never heard him talk about it. He just wanted to put players and people around him in the best possible position to succeed.